Impact Wrestling is moving to Sportsnet. This is a deal that came down and was officially announced on Monday. So I had first heard that this deal was in place last Wednesday. I heard about it and thus did reaching out to a bunch of people. I wanted to get as many details on it as possible, and couldn't put a story out until Sunday evening. I do want to give credit to bodyslam.net. They were the first ones that had a story up on Saturday, noting that there was a deal in place, and some details that I was able to get, they have since been confirmed. So Impact, the flagship Impact, will begin on Sportsnet 360 beginning on Thursday, January the 2nd. It will be in its same time slot, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. This will also include episodes of Explosion and TNA in 60, as well as other TNA programming from its library that goes back almost 23 years. So when it comes to, this was advertised as an exclusive deal. The way it was explained to me is that Sportsnet 360 and Sportsnet, by extension, they will have exclusivity on the Impact show itself and Explosion for 13 days, and then on the 14th day, that's when you can see it appearing on TNA Plus, Fight Network in Canada. So they will still be able, and with the other shoulder programs, there will be no restrictions to those. The only 2-week restrictions are on Explosion and Impact itself. So Fight Network will still be airing TNA content. It's just in the case of those 2 episodes, they will have to wait 2 weeks after they air on Sportsnet 360. So for those that are outside of Canada, TSN and Sportsnet are the 2 major sports networks, and Sportsnet 360 is a channel that you do have to add to your package, but this is where WWE was housed. They are coming up to the end of their 10-year deal, where this was the home of Raw, NXT, Main Event, SmackDown, and Rogers, the parent company of Sportsnet, was also the distributor of the WWE Network. So with that deal ending, Sportsnet is staying in professional wrestling, but they are going with TNA. So for TNA, they are moving from Fight Network to Sportsnet, which is a giant leap for TNA. Like, this is a very... we don't know what the financials of this are, but just for exposure, this is really big for TNA in this country.
Yeah, for perception, it's excellent. It's a major step up for TNA's presence in Canada, and perhaps maybe a sign of interest in other parts of the world. I mean, it's I think strong enough, the fact that they're taking over the week after WWE leaves. We saw a promo for TNA Wrestling coming to Sportsnet tonight, watching WWE Raw. So just to have the spot, I think is massive. Just not to even mention the huge step up in carriage.
Yeah, I mean, it would be really interesting, being that, in Canada, all WWE programming is moving to Netflix. Mm-hmm. And it does make you wonder, like, what size of audience does not have Netflix, that doesn't plan to get Netflix with WWE's move. I don't know if it's going to be a giant number. Like, certainly if you are a WWE fan, it's a must-have in this country.
Or I would also suggest people that just aren't in the habit of turning on Netflix, but are in the habit of having TV on.
Well, that's a huge thing, is that there is an audience that is not going to be, they don't stream their content. And there is the argument of, for that first week of putting TNA programming in those old WWE slots, like, maybe, that's not going to appeal to a WWE fan that's going against Raw or against NXT. But if you're just in the habit of turning on Sportsnet 360 on Mondays at 8:00 and you tune in and it's a game or it's a sports wrap up versus, it's wrestling, like, that's what you are hoping for here. I don't know if TNA is just going to capture this gigantic audience, but I mean, they're just going to be in front of so many more eyes in Canada on a network that is not only has been the go-to network for professional wrestling in this country, but is also the broadcaster for the UFC. It's just such a big step up from Fight Network, where you really had to be specifically looking for TNA. So in that case, it's a very significant one. And it does make you wonder of like how much TNA is going to focus like its resources in this country now that it has a platform. Like I would argue Sportsnet is stronger in Canada than Access TV is in the US in terms of just accessibility, not numbers wise, but it just in terms of per capita, the amount of people you're going to reach. Like you could argue they have a better exposure in Canada now than the US.
Does TNA qualify as CanCon?
I don't know. I don't know if it does or not. Like certainly it is based in Canada. To qualify for CanCon, it's several like buckets you have to qualify for. And I just don't know what the answer is.
Okay. I'm curious to know about that.
But that would, if they did, like certainly that's another bonus for Sportsnet if it does.
It's a lot of extra incentive for Sportsnet to want to show not just 2 hours of TNA per week, but a lot more of it throughout their schedule. Yeah.
So that is that is the major news. So again, it's January the 2nd that Impact will debut. They have a best of show this week, and then the next new episode will be January the 2nd, and this is the lead up to Genesis, which is January the 19th. So it will be a very interesting show just to see. And Canadian ratings aren't going anywhere.
Oh boy! All right.
We'll have AEW. Thanks. We'll have TNA.
I imagine you'll be the deliverer of a lot of that information. So
first thing that went through everyone's mind. All right, we do have several stories up on the site, and TNA has actually put up like an FAQ as well, how this impacts you. Pardon the pun. And for those with TNA Plus as well, but it will be a 2-week delay for Impact and for Explosion. So that's the main thing for Canadian viewers.
If you like this video, consider joining our Patreon, the Post Wrestling Cafe. Multiple bonus podcasts every week, ad-free shows, and access to our full archive. Otherwise, a like and subscribe is much appreciated. Thank you for watching.